You yourself were an outsider who took on the establishment in the state of Florida to become governor. You're a business owner, formerly in the healthcare field. More on that in a minute. How do you think President Trump should proceed with the remaking of Washington?
I think the most important thing is really focus on the #1 issue, and it always will be the #1 issue, and that's job creation. He's got to focus on how do we make sure companies in this country can outperform companies in another country. If we do that, we're going to get more jobs. That's lower taxes, less regulation, make sure we make an environment where people want to build their companies here. Once you do that, which is what I did after I got elected here, then you have the money to do other things. We've added 1,222,000 jobs, and we've done it by cutting taxes 55 times, cutting 20% of the regulations in the state, streamlining everything we can, getting rid of fees, so companies know that there's consistency here. And
Governor,
then I recruited companies to expand.
Governor, a lot of Republicans think that the one way you do all those things that you're talking about is to modify, repeal, do something related to Obamacare. I assume you want to repeal. Remember the battles that Florida had with the federal government. What would be a better fix in order to increase competition and therefore lower prices?
You're right. The most important thing we can do is we've got to lower prices. So the way you do that, and you do it like you do in other industries, create competition. You allow people to buy the insurance they want to buy, have insurance sold across state line, reward people for taking care of themselves. But remember, we still do want everybody to have the opportunity to get the health care they need. But the way to do that is lower cost, then have a safety net to those that need government help. We can do that, but we can afford to do it, and maybe they can afford to do more of it on their own.
You got rich.
And search for the job, of course.
Governor, you got rich building up hospitals, buying hospitals, combining them together. Is the biggest problem in healthcare the insurance side, or is it the hospital side and the treatment side?
It's the government side. The government doesn't need to have the government involvement in healthcare is ridiculous. All it does is reduce competition, doesn't let you buy the insurance you want to buy. It makes it more difficult to compete. And so we get government out of the way, the private sector will work, we can drive down the cost of health care. That way more people can afford health care. And as our economy gets better, we can afford to take care of people.
But you know as well as I do that health care was expensive before Obama took office. I mean, I'm sure we could debate Obamacare all day long, but it wasn't exactly as if health care was some great bargain prior to 2008. Which is why which is why they started debating Obamacare, because it was already in trouble.
Because of government involvement. Let's say it hasn't gotten better under Obamacare. It's gotten way worse. It's skyrocketed. The cost of health care has skyrocketed because of Obamacare. We need to get less government.
What's the hurdle to getting insurance sold across state lines? Is it the insurance companies? Do they like that? Is it that the regulators in each of those states like their little fiefdom and don't want to give it up?
I think it's just history. I think it's just the way it's been set up in the past. I don't think it's not something that's anybody's put a lot of effort into. So I think it's all doable. But the big thing is allow there to be competition. I mean, if you stop and think about it, we have all this new technology. Let it work. And so let the new technology come in. Allow people to stay, allow people to build different types of hospitals, things like that. But don't tell people exactly what insurance they want to buy. Let them buy what they need. We all know our bodies better than any insurance company or any government will ever know. But just get out of the way and you watch. The private sector will figure out things that will drive down the cost. If you drive down the cost and get people jobs, most people get covered.
The biggest way that government is involved in health care is through Medicare. Second biggest is through Medicaid. Third biggest is through the ACA. Implicit in what you're saying, would you like to see Medicare and Medicaid go away so the government is really out of the business of caring for people? Or not caring for people, but insuring them?
I think we need to make sure we have safety nets for those that need care. So if you can't afford health care, we've got to have a health care system for you, like Medicaid. And if you've paid into the system like the Medicare recipients have, you ought to have that opportunity to do that. But let's look at what we've done. We've told basically everybody you almost have to go through now some way of government involvement in what type of health care you're going to buy. We shouldn't be doing that. We should let the private sector make these decisions. They'll meet their consumers' needs way better than any government will do. Yeah. I want to make sure people get health care. You've got to drive down the cost of health care. Competition will do it.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.